So today we are going to be doing an experiment where we're going to take some male and female guppies and then putting them together to breed. And of course the breeding is not the difficult part, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breeding them at different temperatures, and then we're going to be looking at what the ratio is of male to female. Since in the past this has been scientifically researched before actually, there have been a few articles where people have studied how it works with the ratio male and female when you're breeding guppies on different temperatures. For example, I think from one experiment the results were that, you know, when you breed guppies at a lower temperature you get more females, and at a higher temperature you get more males. But anyway, I'm interested to see if that's actually true and if we can replicate that experiment. So let me quickly go over the setup that we've got. The tanks that I've got set up are down here. The guppies that we have are here already. So we've got male guppies and then we've got female guppies over there. But the tanks that we got as the experiment are down here. I'll just put some B-roll footage over so you can see. However, they are 4 tanks that we are using. They are 25 liters each, which makes it to be 40 centimeters deep and then 25 centimeters across and 25 centimeters high, if that makes sense. So 25 liters each. And yeah, we got 4 of those tanks at different temperatures. So the highest tank is at 32 degrees Celsius. Then we got one at 28 degrees Celsius, and we got one at 24 degrees Celsius. And then we got one at about room temperature, which is about 22 degrees Celsius. That last one is going to be a bit more tricky to control, like temperature wise, since the room temperature does fluctuate a little bit here. But I think we can take from this experiment that it's like the lowest that, well, not the lowest that you can go, but like the lowest possible in this room. Since the temperature in this room does swing between, you know, 20 and 22, 23 degrees Celsius. So then further in those tanks, you know, in those 3 tanks I've got a heater. In the last one I don't, because that's room temperature. Then we also have some sponge filters that are run on my central air system. And I've also added a little plant in there. It's some hygrophila polysperma, I believe, which, you know, will just help with the whole process. At a later date I might add more plants depending on if I see the adults eating the babies or not. So that just basically depends, and we might also have to separate the females from, you know, like the tank, so that the babies can hatch without being eaten. But that will be all to come in, like, you know, the future. Well, the future for me, for you guys in the video, probably only a few minutes ahead, because I am going to be filming everything in one video. So by the end of this video you're going to see the full experiment and the full results and everything like that. So it'd be pretty cool, because I just cut my hair actually, so you'll be able to see it regrow back, and then like in, maybe this will take like 3 months, I think, you know. Then you'll see a difference. But anyway, let me first tell you a little bit about guppy fish. So guppies, the ones that we have here, the scientific name is Poecilia reticulatus. Basically those are your standard guppy fish really, because you have basically, well, 2 types that people call guppies. You got Endler guppies and then you got normal guppies, but these are the normal guppies. So yeah, we got those. Then we got some males and females. They are live bearers, so that means they give birth to live young, hence being an easy fish to use for this experiment. You could also use a different fish for this experiment, for example platies or swordtails or mollies or anything like that. You know, that is also definitely possible. But yeah, you know, these are really easy fish to care for, and that's why they are renowned as a good beginner fish. Although nowadays a lot of these fish are not that healthy and are quite sick, to be honest. So I actually wouldn't recommend these being your beginner fish. Don't start with them. Start with something like neon tetras that I have here, or any other type of tetra really. You could also start with some mollies or platies or something like that. But guppies, it's just a tricky one, to be honest. I mean, back in the 80s or the 90s when I was not alive, then they were, you know, probably quite hardy and good as a beginner fish. But nowadays they've just been so inbred with all the colors and everything that they are not really that healthy anymore. Although the ones we're using today are very healthy, and that's down to me looking after them. So basically they came in from the wholesaler. They were looking really good then. But you know, I've now just fattened them up with some live baby brine shrimp and some frozen foods and all kinds of good foods, you know. and they're just looking stunning, they're looking great. So we got the males and the females, and yeah, they are ready to breed. So let me talk a little bit about the breeding process. Like I said, they are live bearers, which means they give birth to live young. The females usually do this about once every month, so every 30 days, 31 days, they will have a drop of fry. This does depend on a few factors, you know, maybe water temperature being one of them, because we do have a few sub-questions as well that we'll be answering, because this whole thing is for a school experiment. That's the reason why I'm doing it, is because for school we have to do in our final year like a experiment. So this is the experiment I'm doing. So this will also be a video that I will also upload in the research document that I'm making. So it'll be interesting. Anyways, before I start with adding them to the tanks, I first want to test the water of the tanks, because I want to note that down at the start of the experiment what the water parameters are, because I think that can be quite beneficial. Because, for example, maybe the pH also has effect on the male and female ratio of the babies, but we don't know that because the variable we are using is the temperature, so that's the only variable. And in experiment scientific research you can only have one variable, because otherwise your experiment is not really valid. So yeah, let's go test the water. I'll get my test kit out from somewhere. I do have it somewhere. So yeah, let's go test the water. Okay, so this is my test kit. These are the things I want to test. I want to test for pH, GH, and KH. Then I'm also going to measure the TDS of the water. I think these are just the most important ones. Of course, we also got nitrate, nitrite, and ammonia. But those, you know, I've tested those before, and those are just all good. That's more for like if the water is suitable for fish, whereas this actually tells you different parameters in the water that can affect fish, like in a different way. You know, like nitrite's gonna kill your fish. This is not gonna kill your fish. These are just, you know, parameters that you want to test in your water to see what the levels are. So yeah, we're not going to be testing ammonia and those type of things, but only these things. I think these are the most important. Also, we'll measure the temperature, of course, because that's important. So yeah, I'm just going to be doing this. I'll probably put a time lapse on because it's quite a long process and quite boring to watch. It's pretty cool with the colors and stuff, but yeah, I'll put a time lapse on. Alright guys, well that's all of our testing done. Yeah, so we've done all the testing, which is great. Basically the pH is about 8.5, GH was around 10 degrees, and then KH was around 6 degrees. I mean, it varied a little bit for each tank, but it was pretty much all the same. So that's all good. TDS did vary though, which I found pretty interesting. For example, I have my little notes here. For example, in the first tank with 32 degrees Celsius, the TDS was 488 parts per million. Then the second tank was 452 parts per million. Then the third tank was 422 ppm. And then the last tank was 388 ppm, which I found that pretty interesting. So there's a difference of 100 parts per million there between the temperatures. So I thought that was quite interesting. Anyway, these are the tanks down here. So these are the experiment tanks. I probably would have done B-roll already, but just to show you a little bit, you know, the setup we've got going. So I'm going to call this T1, T2, T3, and T4. So then we have the different temperatures, 4 different temperatures, and that's easier to say. Last thing I want to do now is actually measure the temperature, because I'm saying it's 32, but that's what the thermometer is set to. So let's actually measure the temperature and see if it's correct. Right, so I have this thermometer here that measures temperature with like a laser, so this is pretty accurate. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and then we'll measure the temperature for this, which comes to 30.8 degrees Celsius, as you can see. So that means the temperature has dipped a bit, which is quite interesting. Maybe I have to put up the thermometer a little, or the heater a bit, but we'll have to see. Let's have a look what the temperature is for this tank. See, this tank is at 28.2, so that's good. Let's go to the next tank, which is at 25.3. Okay, that is quite interesting as well. Right, and then the final tank, I have to get the lid up here a little bit. Let's measure. Right, 21.6. Okay, so temperatures are quite interesting. So what that tells me is I have to put the thermometer up a little bit in that one. And yeah, maybe put it a bit down in there. But overall, we're looking pretty good. So I'll note these down, and then we can add the guppies. You know, it's time to add the guppies. I'll probably do that in a minute after school, because I have to go to school first. So we'll do that this afternoon, and then we'll add all the guppies. Right, so I'm back from school now, and it's time to continue with the experiment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the male and female guppies, catch them out, you know, and then put them in the tanks that they need to go into. And I think we're going to do 2 male guppies per tank, and then mix with 4 female guppies, because I think that will give us a nice ratio of, you know, male to female ratio at the start. And then, you know, we'll have a decent amount of young from 4 females, I believe. Considering every female could drop up to like 30 babies, so that would be really nice. I'm not really going to expect that. I'm going to expect that in total we'll get around, would be nice per tank to get around 30, 40, 50 babies. That would be really nice. But we'll see what's possible in a month. So yeah, I'm just going to catch them out. Really not that difficult. I'm going to get a little container and a net and then grab them out, and then we're going to put them in the tanks. Right, so just slide this open, and then I'll grab myself a nice little container like this, and then I'm simply just going to grab some water out, and then I'm just going to net them out, and then we can have a little look at the fish in a minute. I'll just point the camera at the little container. Okay, so here you can see the male guppies that we got. We got 8 in total. There's 1 left over in the tank, but that's not an issue because I'm going to get some more male guppies this week, so he won't be alone for long. However, these are the 8 guppies that I've chosen as males. We got some different colors, and yeah, we'll mix those then with the females, but at least these are the males. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, there should be 8 in there, so that's all good. And you know, they just look great. Like, look at the colors on them. They look really nice. So I'm happy with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put them in the tanks. We might need to acclimate them. So what I'll have to do is grab a few containers and then acclimatize them in the tank so they get adjusted to the water temperature. I'll show you how I do that in a minute. So yeah, what we're going to be doing is we're going to grab some more containers. So I just have some extra containers here. So we're going to grab these, we're going to put them in the tanks, and then I'll show you what we'll do. So in each container, I'm just going to take a little bit of the water that we have from this tank, and then we're going to go down to our tanks down here, and then I'm just literally going to hang it in here. So we'll just hang it in like so, and then we'll put 2 male guppies in there. Repeat the process for all the different tanks. So we'll put 1 there, there, and there. So I do have enough containers, I hope. Like here I've got another one, so we'll just fill that with a bit of water from the tank that they used to, and then, you know, put them down here. And yeah, so I'm just going to do that real quick, and I'll get back to you guys. Right, so here we have our male guppies. I'm just going to take 2. I'll try to do about the same colored ones, because I think that'll be the most interesting for our experiment, to see like the colors that we get like as a result in the baby. So for example, we got this guy here. I'm just going to put him in that thing to acclimatize, and then I'm going to take exact the same one. We do have one here which looks exactly the same, so I'm going to take him and put him in there as well. Let him swim out. Come on, swim out, you little dude. There we go. And then for the next tank, we're going to do some different ones, maybe some of these leopard snakeskin ones. Put him in there, and then there we go. And then we're just going to take a few more. So let's see the other snakeskin, and we'll put him in there. And yeah, we're just going to do this, and then I'm going to do the same with the females. Get some random females, and then put those in together as well. Right, and then we'll just put these in the final tank, and there we go. And then same idea for the females. I'm just going to grab the females and put them in with them. So let's go do that. Okay guys, so we've now got 4 females added per container. So in total we have 2 males and 4 females per container, which is a nice ratio. So yeah, we're just gonna let them acclimatize for a bit, and then we'll release them in. So I'll probably just leave them there for, you know, about 15-20 minutes or something like that, and then every time I'll add a little bit of water. So for example with these here, what I'll do is I'll take this and then add a bit of the tank water that's there, and then just let them be like that. So yeah, we're gonna just give this a little while, and I'll get back to you guys in a bit. Alright, it's been long enough, it's time to release the guppies. Simply what I'm gonna do is just, you know, empty them into the tank like so. In they go. And yeah, we'll do that with all of these fish. And then we'll see, you know, in a, well, probably like a month, if we got any results yet. Or if we haven't, yeah, we'll have to see about that. For now at least, we got the guppies in, which is cool. Let me just do the last few here as well. There we go. And there's still one left. In they go. I also might have to add some more shelter. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, for now that's what it is. And I'll update you guys whenever I feel like I need to update you guys. Alright, it's been about 3 weeks since we set this experiment up. Actually, yeah, about 3.5 weeks, something like that, that we've, you know, started with doing this experiment. And, well, it's time to do some changes. Because as I said, I think before in the video, you know, the guppies take about a month before they produce live young. So we are nearing that month mark now, you know, with probably somewhere in the next week or so, or week or 2 or something like that, we'll start to expect some babies. But before that happens, I want to do some preventative matters so that they don't get eaten. My plan now is to actually separate the males and females again, since we do not really need the males. The males are at this point useless really, because, you know, we got the females who are pregnant, hopefully, well they should be really, and yeah, those are just gonna give birth to live young. So yeah, we don't need those males anymore. So we're going to get the males out, we're going to put those back in a tank here, and then in about a week or 2 from now, I would say 2 or 3 weeks from now, we should see some results happening, you know, some babies. And if we think that we have enough babies, then I'll just take the female guppies out and put those back in their own tanks as well. And then at that point, it's just a matter of, you know, raising up the fry and then determining the results. Anyway, I'm gonna get on with, you know, taking the males out of each tank, and I've actually done some water changes as well, some slight water changes. So I did a bit of water changing as well, so they have, you know, clean bottoms and everything, so that's all good. But anyway, they are all very active, so that's very good. And they do look nice and fat and plump, which is also a good sign that they should be dropping some fry soon. So yeah, I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm expecting these will drop fry maybe somewhere next week. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on everything that's happening here. But for now, this is the setup that we have, and that's all good. Well, you guys, it's been about a month since I last updated you guys. Actually, about 5 weeks nearly, which is insane, and I didn't mean it to be like this. I wanted to update you way sooner, but I was just really busy, and I kind of, you know, it was all in the background a little bit, so I just let it be. So I didn't film anything in between. I might have a few pictures and maybe short videos of things, but I'm here to give you an update like about 5 weeks later. Now, I said in the previous clip that we were expecting some babies pretty soon, and funnily enough, you know, about a week after that clip we had some babies, and I must say now we do have babies of all the tanks. So of all the fish we have babies. I can't remember, yeah, I think we did already remove the males back in the previous clip, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we removed the males at least, so we've only got the females. And what I did, I bought like these fry containers that you can kind of you can buy them at like your local fish store, and it's this box. I'll show you in a minute down here, but it's just this box which you know, you put the fish in. There's like a little tray, and they go under, and then the fry go under the tray, and then that way. So I used those. I got 4 of those in each, so 1 in each tank. That worked a treat. So yeah, we got babies of all the fish, which that's great, of course. We didn't have that many babies though, which was kind of concerning. But I think in the end we did end up with a decent amount of babies. I think there might have been around 2, because if you think about it, it's, you know, every month they give birth to live young. So there should be about 2 rounds now. But I thought I'd pick up the camera now because there was something interesting here. Because in our far left tank, which is our warmest tank, all the females suddenly died. I don't know why, I don't know how. It's really weird, but yeah, the other fish are all good. They are still alive. But the females all the way on the left, which is the warmest, they all died. Anyway, I think I'll flip around the camera to show you what is happening and everything, and then we'll go from there. Right, so here we are, you guys. This is the experiment. Tanks are looking fine. I have cleaned them periodically, of course. Let's start with the right side, because here we have our coolest temperature. You can see we still got the females in here. They are doing great. I just seen, yeah, there's still 4 females in there, so they're doing fine. I don't think there's any babies down below, but we do have babies in the tank. You can see one there already, and there's quite a few in here. I think we got the most fry in the coldest tank, which is interesting. Then moving over, we got this tank. We still have all the females, or let me see. Do we have all the females, or have we lost one? We might have lost one, actually. Yeah, maybe we did lose 1 female here. But yeah, we also got fry here. They are a little bit big, as you can see, so that's good. Then moving over, we got another tank, of course. Here we still got all the fish, all the females in there. Again, a lot of fry. There's, I think, 2 batches here. You got bigger ones, you got smaller ones. They are looking good. And then yeah, moving over to the final tank, as you can see, we got dead females. 4 dead females to be exact. We do have fry though, quite a few as well. They are all in the tank. So yeah, basically what I've been doing is, you know, I had these little boxes, and every time I saw fry in the bottom chamber here, I would take those out and release them into the tank, and then of course feed them every day with baby brine shrimp, flake food and things like that. And they have been growing pretty fast, because basically most of these fish are around about a month old. The second batch would be only like maybe like a week old or 2 weeks old, depending on when they were born, of course. I didn't keep track of when every fish was born, because that didn't really make sense to me, because this experiment is not about like how fast they grow or anything. It's about the ratio of males and females in the end. So we need our end results, but in between it doesn't really matter what happens. So yeah, this is the things that are going on. Of course, I will remove those females. I'm not going to replace them, because that's just it. We're going to do with the young that we have there. We'll just work with that. These other females, I'm not sure. I think I want to remove them, because yeah, they've been in these, you know, little boxes for quite a while, and also there's not much more. I don't think they're going to produce many more young, because I can, you know, determine by their bellies they're not that fat and round anymore. So I think they're pretty much done. So I think we'll remove everything, which will be exciting, because then we can focus on just growing up the fry as quick as possible, and yeah, finding out the results. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to quickly remove them all out. I'll put the females back up in the tank here, where we got other females, and then they can live their lives, the rest of their lives happily in there, probably get sold or whatever. So yeah, let me do that real quick. Right, okay, as you can see, I cleared all of the baskets up, except for one, which is this one, since there were actually fry in here. I didn't see them at first, but there were fry in here, quite a few. Plus the females still look like they are still giving birth to fry. So I thought I'll just leave this run for maybe another, you know, maybe another day, and then I'll take them out, because if there are some more fry, you know, that's great. But yeah, so I'm just leaving those, but all the other ones are gone. Like I said, we had 4 dead ones here, which is a shame. And I think we had 1 dead one here. Anyway, it's time to give these guys a little feed, because I want to show you what I'm feeding these guys. So we go in the fridge, because I should still have in here some baby brine shrimp. Now simply what I do is I go in and I take a little scoop. We got some baby brine shrimp in here, and then we'll go down and literally just squirt some in like so. I try to divide it a little bit and a bit more. As you can see, we need some more for there, and yeah, that's what I'll just feed them. They absolutely love it. They go straight for it straight away. I don't know if you guys can see, maybe not, probably not because it won't focus. But yeah, they do love it. You can see, look, we got some bigger ones, we got some smaller ones, and it's great. So we do, yeah, it seems to be like we have 2 generations in there, which is good. So I'm going to keep feeding those. But I think that's all I want to do for an update now, because there's not much more to it. I'll probably pick up the camera once they've grown a little bit, maybe when we can see their sex already. With some it might already be possible. And at some point we'll do a final count, of course, of how many fry we have. And yeah, go from there. Well, you guys, it's been about 2 months since I took the last clip. A lot has happened in these 2 months, I will say, and I'm sorry that I didn't give you any other updates regarding this experiment. I've just been really busy, and it kind of, you know, it was something that I did on the side rather than the main focus of things. So I did, of course, you know, still look after them and everything like that and feed them and whatnot. But I didn't film that much. But anyways, we are now here 2 months later. It is the 20th of January actually. The deadline for this experiment is the 31st of January. At least by then I have to have done the whole experiment and done a whole report and stuff. It's like, this is an experiment for school, right? But I thought, you know, I'd still make a video about it because it's fun for you guys to watch and see the results. And I do know that this video will be quite long, which I do apologize for in advance. Well, I guess this is nearing the end. So anyways, but it's going to be a long video, and that's a ambulance out there. Now that the ambulance is gone, we can continue. So basically what has happened is, well, we had babies. That I think that was already in the last clip. But those babies have now grown up, and they are pretty much, I wouldn't say adult fish, but semi-adult fish. A few interesting things have also happened. So in our coldest tank, they are growing a bit slower. I have noticed that. They are definitely growing slower. You know, kind of makes sense because the tank is way cooler. Now we are first in a minute going to test the water on every tank, like different water parameters, like I did at the start of the video and at the start of the experiment. I want to do it at the end so we can kind of compare and see if there's been changes and if that will explain anything. What I know for sure is that the coldest tank has dropped even colder because I didn't put a heater in there. I kept it at room temperature, but the room temperature now is colder because we're in winter, and when we started this it was like more summer, so that does make sense, you know. But we are gonna first of all, yeah, get all the water parameters sorted, so I'm quickly gonna do that. Won't film much because I already filmed it, so yeah, I'll catch you back once I got all the water parameters. Okay then, measurements are all done. I got everything noted down. Yeah, I don't know. So the most interesting thing was that the temperature of this tank was indeed lower than what we started at. To be expected though, but I think it's good for the experiment. It does give us yeah, some more info on like if the temperature is really a lot lower, does it have effect on, well, how many males or females you have? And I definitely think there is, because from what I can already see, I don't see a single male in that tank. Now we are going to officially look at those results in a little bit, but yeah, I think that's good. The other water parameters were mainly the same, which is to be expected, of course. You know, pretty much what I've done every week. So once a week I've done a water change on these tanks, about 50%. So the water levels have, or like the, you know, the water parameters have stayed quite consistent, which is good, I think. And yeah, I think that's good for having a good experiment. Now, I haven't always like cleaned all the algae off because I didn't really have much time for that, but I always just did it like a quick water change because that's nice and quick and easy. So you can see there's a bit more algae in this tank, but then a bit less in here. So that just depends per tank. But let's quickly take a look at these tanks, right? So it's quite difficult getting down here, but so this is the coldest tank, right? As you can see, most of these are females. We do have a decent amount of fry, which is nice, but as you can see, most of these are females. I don't really see a single male at the moment, so that's interesting. Then moving on to the second tank, you can see at least we got one male there. We might have another male as well, but the majority is still females, so that's also interesting. Then moving on to this tank, and you can see we have way more males. So we already have, yeah, a male there, also a few females, of course. But yeah, I thought that is quite interesting. And then the final tank, it might be the most interesting of all. So in this tank, we didn't get many fry. We only got 4, I believe. 1 male and 3 females, I think. But what's interesting about these is because they've grown so quick, because they're at a higher temperature, they've had babies of their own already. So you might be able to see it will be very difficult, but there's like tiny little fry there, and those are not from the same batch as these, but these are the fry of these fry, which is quite insane, isn't it? So that's like the second generation already coming through. Of course, I'm not going to be counting those in the experiment because that's not entirely fair, but I thought that is quite interesting, and that is interesting to write in our discussion in our report. So yeah, that is quite cool. Anyways, overall we're looking good. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to catch them all out, then I'll put them in a tank where we can see them a bit better, and then do a final count of A, how many fry do we have, and B, how many males and females do we have. And I think, yeah, after that we'll round it off and we'll have a conclusion. Okay, well, as you guys can probably see, we've got 5 fish in here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this small one here is from the first batch or the second batch. I'm not sure. I think it is from the first because I do remember seeing it, and I think it was just born a bit later, but I can't be totally sure of that. But I am going to count it in. So in total we have 5 fish, and we have, as you can see, 1 male and 4 females. So that's very interesting. I was expecting more males, to be honest with you. But there again, we didn't have that many fish, so the odds are a lot smaller already. And yeah, it kind of makes sense with not having that many fish. So this is not really a clear result, I would say, because we were expecting more males. However, we can't do much about that because, well, we only have, 5 fish in total. Nevertheless, they're looking really good, and like I said, we already have tons more babies from these guys. So yeah, that's very interesting. Anyway, let's move on to the next group then. Right, so this is the next batch, and as you can see, we got some cool results here. We definitely got more males in this batch, and we got also just more fish in general. I'm going to have to do a quick count though. It's going to be quite difficult because they do swim quite fast, but I'll try my best. Right, they're super difficult to count, so what I'm going to do, I think there's about 15, 14 there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take them out one by one, put them back in the tank, and then that way I will know how many there were in total. I will say these have some beautiful colors. Like, take a look at some of those males, but even the females, they have beautiful colors. It'll be interesting to see if we go back, like what the parents were, what colors they were, because they are so beautiful. I really like it. Right, so time for the next tank, and in this tank, as you can see, I can only see 1 male. I generally think we only have 1 male in this tank, which is a bit bizarre to think about, and that this is like actually possible. Now, also in this tank, I did see other smaller fry, which were not of the same batch, but must have been fry of maybe like this female here. So that is also interesting that has happened in this tank. And yeah, it looks like we only got 1 male here. I do not know the total amount of fish that we have. I will count those when I put them back. But I can see maybe another male starting to form. The thing is with guppies, it can take a little while before they have their eventual sex, Like this male is nearly fully grown, so he's really a male. But I can see some which might become a male. The unfortunate part is this, I can't run this experiment long enough to test that because we do have a deadline, unfortunately. Interesting is this fish here has a very particular coloration, like almost like yellow. I don't know if you guys can see that. Take a look at that fish right by there. I don't know where it is. There, right in the middle of your screen. It's like really yellow. It has something goldish on the like nose. Can you guys see that? That is pretty interesting, isn't it? So it's always cool to see all these fish do their thing. And yeah, it looks like we only got 1 male in here. There's definitely some really nice colorings and patterns in here. I guess because we used adults that were quite nice colorings. I'm just going to see if I can see any other males or signs of males. But honestly, I think these are all females. So yeah, I think we're set here. We got all females except 1 male. And I'm going to put them back, going to count them, and we'll do that. Okay, here's the 4th batch. And as you can see, they're all females. I don't see a single male at all. So these are all females, It was what we expected from the previous experiments, because there have been previous experiments. I think I did mention that in the beginning of the video. However, you know, it is very interesting to see that there are no males in this tank on the lowest temperature. So very interesting. I think we have a total of... Yes, we have a total of 11 fish in here, all females, as you can see, which, you know, is just really interesting. And yeah, I think we can conclude that definitely, you know, on lower temperatures you'll have more females, and then higher temperatures you'll generally have more males, but kind of depending, because as you could see in some of the tanks we didn't have a majority of males though, so that is interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna get these back and then do our final shot and we'll round off. Well, there you have it, guys. That is it for the guppy experiment. It has taken a good few months. Like, yeah, this experiment has taken at least nearly half a year, to be honest with you. It's been fun to do, for sure. We've had interesting results. I think this will be good for my school project, you know. Hopefully I'll get a good grade from that. Quite happy in general how everything went. There are a few points that I can point out that might have gone wrong or whatever, but that will be in my full report and my full essay on that. I may or may not make that public actually once we're finally done. It is in Dutch. I might translate it to English so you guys can read that, but I'll have to see if I do that. It might take a little while before I do that, and if I do that at all. But I think the conclusion we can take is that yes, on lower temperatures you'll get more females, on higher temperatures more males. And you know, you can do with this whatever you want with this information. It's up to you. I think this does like happen in like Indonesia and places where guppies are bred on like guppy farms in mass scale. I think generally they'll probably higher the temperature, so they get more males, because as you can see here, if you lower the temperature, then you're not going to get many males at all, if any. So I think they definitely will do them at higher temperatures to get more males, because, you know, males sell better and people want males, of course, because they have more color. But it's always fun to see what different colors come out from the parents and stuff. So it's been a fun experiment, you know. This is a long video, I know, I'm sorry for this. But if you enjoy this type of thing, you know, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment down below what you think of this experiment. It is also kind of a bit all over the place, and I think it's kind of a messy video. Definitely not the most proudest video I've ever made, I think. But it is what it is. At least I'm not gonna just throw all this footage away and not make it a video. I'll make it a video anyway, because why not? Anyway, now I'm just rambling on. So watch one of these videos here next that you can have a look at. You might be interested in those. But anyways, have a great rest of your day. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.